y'all? Welcome to Girl Meets Screen. My name's Norma, your host or whatever. And yes, I messed up again, I know. It's the day before the next batch of episodes are dropping, and here I am doing 1 through 6. Listen, it was a lot of episodes. There was a lot going on, okay? I went home to Massachusetts for Kai's birthday. We had her birthday yesterday. Like, it just, that whole week I was trying to clean this place up. It's still not clean. But I will be done with that this week. I will. Anyways, y'all don't care about that. Y'all are here for Love is Blind, so let's get into it. Episode 1, one of our first connections we see are Tyler and Ashley. Ashley something. Yeah, because I think there was 2 Ashleys, but I don't remember the other Ashley getting screen time, so let me, but I don't know. Like I said, I just was focused on the couples when I went like back through to make my notes. So, Tyler and Ashley are hitting it off. I'm gonna get this out the way now. I saw some stuff about Tyler. Basically, apparently he tells Ashley that he was a sperm donor. 3 different kids, but he's just a sperm donor. Well, that baby mama's mama posted, and apparently he was much more than a sperm donor. There were pictures of him in a pumpkin patch, matching Christmas pajamas. I think family photos. Like, there was just clear evidence that he was not a sperm donor. So I don't know. For Ashley's sake, I hope that there is an explanation for this. Y'all. I'll pray that it was editing or something. And it's so funny because me and my friend were talking about this, and I was like, Tyler just seems too good to be true. And I was right. Is that not sad? Because anytime you say that, you feel like, no, like, you can't think that way. That's so, cynical or like negative. And then you're proven right every single time. Anyways, that's that. And then we move on to our trophy wife, Brittany. She said she's here to find a man who's going to support her, okay? She is a trophy wife. She's not a working wife. Yeah, most of the guys are like Brittany. But our wonderful, wonderful Leo seems to see that differently, which we'll get more into when he comes up, okay? So our next connection is Garrett and Taylor. Garrett's white, Taylor is Asian. I can't remember what exactly she is, but she is Asian. And yeah, they have some conflicts with that. I'm gonna say it now. I don't remember what episode it comes out in, and I don't even remember if it's in my notes, because I just, like, obviously I knew I'd remember it. But yeah, they're connecting. They're both like engineers or something in the science field. And so they're connecting over that, making, like, smarty pants comments, talking about things only those smarty pants people understand. So they're having a wonderful time. But then they get into, like, talking about their families. She's talking about her dad, her mom, all that. And she mentions how her mom's name would give away her ethnicity, so she's not going to say it yet. And then he starts talking about how, like, she seems kind of closed off and calculated, yada, 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 which, like, a little bit racist if you ask me. No, I'm not gonna put that on him. I'm not gonna put that label on him, but it was strange of him to, which now that I think about it, it probably wasn't even him, it was probably editing. I feel like it was probably editing that made it seem like he was making those comments directly related to her, like, ethnicity or whatever. I'm actually gonna look at their social medias to see if he said anything about that, or if she has. And if they do, maybe I'll make like a YouTube short about it or something later today. But that was weird. It was definitely weird, and I hope for his sake that it was editing. Next match we have, or next connection, we have Alex and Tim. And baby, these meetings were basically therapy sessions for them, okay? These pod dates, therapy sessions. She goes into talking about how both her parents were diagnosed with MS. Her mom was taking care of her dad. Then when her mom's symptoms got worse, her dad pieced out of there, which is awful. Terrible. And no, that's not the only reason I'm saying it turned into a therapy session, guys. That would be really messed up, okay? No, it's because then Tim also proceeds to talk about how both of his sisters had passed, I believe both at a young age, the effects of that, yada, like, and it goes on like this, because then in another meeting, he, like, is talking about, I think in the same one, he talks about his sister's class rings. He wears them both or something like that. I don't remember. But then there's another one where he gives her his sister's bracelet and basically says how special it is to him. to show her how special she is to him and that he's letting her hold on to it for him. It's a lot. I'm not gonna hold y'all. It's a lot, right? Like, you gotta have a balance of like, this is all the serious shit in my life, and these are the fun things I do. This is the person that I am. Like, and so they begin intense every date, and it's a lot. And then he's the one who makes it intense. And then later on, it's like, I was worried. You know, we had so much fun this day, and I was worried because our dates were so serious. Sir, what you're gonna do is stop playing in our faces. We can finally get into Leo, you guys. Okay. When I tell you guys, a few of these people, specifically Leo is the only one I can remember right now, but I liked him so much in the beginning of his arc, okay? He just seemed, I'm not gonna lie, like, yes, he was bragging about money a little bit, but it didn't seem like it was coming from a malicious place. It seemed like it was coming from, like, a kid who's just never been around people that have less money than him. Does that make sense? It's like he doesn't understand what it sounds like to be like, I have money and I ain't got no cares in the world, you know? Like, I've never needed for anything, and like, I totally know like how lucky I am for that. And like, you know, like, I've never, like, I have money. And it's like, sir, you only have to say that once for everybody to understand what you meant. Like, relax. But it just came off as like, I'm socially awkward with this shit, and like, no one has taught me that this is like socially, not necessarily not appropriate, but like not the vibe, you know? But nonetheless, he continues on pod dates and in the men's quarter to talk about how rich he is. So he, of course, ends up talking to trophy wife Brittany, who is like, so tell us how you feel about, you know, bills and how you would split bills in your household. And he was like, you know, I definitely don't believe in 100%, but I can't say that I would go 50-50 because if I know that I make more than my partner, that doesn't seem right either. So it would have to be some sort of balance. And she was like, oh, I'm so happy to hear you say that, because like, yeah, a lot of the guys were just like so set on 50-50. And I'm just like, hey, listen, like I'm a girl. Like, it takes a lot to maintain the way I look for you. Like, my hair, my nails, my blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, you know, and he starts talking about, you know, his money again. And he's like, I have so much money, and I just want to make sure that no one's with me for the money. And then Brittany's like, trust me, honey, if I wanted to be with someone for the money, I already would be. Like, I would have. And I'm like, girl, how would we know that, though? You know, because people like that always say shit like that. And it's like, for all we know, every guy that she's tried to do that with didn't fall for the okie doke, or just didn't want her specifically as that trophy wife or as the person that they marry having money. Like, we can't sit here and pretend like she's just had all these options and she said no because she's looking for love. Like, nah, Brittany, girl, you want money, honey. You want money, honey. We could talk about editing all we want and that she was edited a certain way, but also, I've said this before, when they have multiple clips of you being a specific way, you just are that way. Like, self-reflecting is what you need right now, okay? I'm just saying. Anyways, Leo also had another connection with Hannah, who we will talk about, because my goodness, Hannah is driving me up the wall. She comes in hot, talking about how she's hot, and all guys ever think is that she's hot, and they don't want to take her seriously, or like, you know, be serious with her. Like, they treat her like a piece of meat, basically, right? Like, they just want to have sex with her. But then then you have her with Nick being like, you might not like me, I think you're not gonna like being super insecure, right? So you're like, these are two very opposing people that you are presenting. Which one are you? But then I was watching, because, you know, I watch YouTube reviews just like this one. So happy you're including me in that list of yours. But anyways, someone's saying, like, someone left in their comments, and I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. It's like, she probably was the, like, cheerleader, quarterback boyfriend, right? Like, skinny mini, yada, yada, yada. And then, so she did have that initial experience of, like, they only want me for sex. They don't want to take me serious, whatever. Like, right? Confidence. And then she got a little bit bigger. She has lost some weight, but not as much as she'd like to lose. And so she is having that other side of guys seeing her and then not wanting her, yada, 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 right? Like, the balance of the two. I'm not saying either or is correct, okay? Like, I am not one to speak on nobody's body, I promise you. But I'm saying that made sense of why she presents these two completely different people, because it's like, this is who she was and who she obviously still wants to be, but she's an insecure woman who has had body changes and all that comes with that. I feel like most of us can relate to that, especially if you've given birth a few times and you ain't looking like you used to look. But anyways, so yeah, that's his other match. He's calling her his twin flame. I personally haven't seen anything in their match to take it to like a serious level, But what do I know? Other than him saying, like, you know, I said I was an art dealer and, like, you didn't even, you know, say anything about it. And she was kind of like, well, I mean, I didn't even know what that was. So that's why I didn't bother. Which is comedy. And then we have Nick D, who is Hannah's other connection, right? So Leo's got 2 connections. Hannah's got 2 connections. Nick D, all the women are calling him the charmer, the smooth talker, right? Because he's one of those guys who just always has the perfect response to say. So they're all saying he's a charmer, he's a smooth talker. Like, ain't nobody taking that man serious. And of course, Hannah's taking him serious. And Hannah's like, in love with him. Because when you're struggling with your confidence, with your self-image, that you're going to fall for that. You are. Because you want it to be true. You want to believe it. But then what happens is what we're seeing happen with her and him, where, like, then you're backtracking and being like, but I don't believe you. You know? So anywho, yeah, she's falling for Nick D. There's this funny moment where she's like, "It's the love of my life," and Marissa literally like cackles in her face and is like, "That's not the love of your life, Hannah." And Hannah just looks so distraught and broken, and I just, oh gosh. But the comments do get to her. So by the end of this episode, she is breaking up with Nick D, just basically saying like, "You're a charmer, and I just feel like you're just saying all the right things, and none of it's true." Bada boom, bada bang. Nick D is out of here. No, he's not. Because we jump into episode 2, where Brittany lets it spill that Leo's her number 1. She's been talking to him, and Hannah is like, "Oh no, I dropped Nick D because he was my number 1." And so then Brittany's talking to Leo about this slip up, and then like she gets kind of upset because she realizes I'm actually in a triangle, and like usually guys, I'm the person they pick, right? Like I'm the number 1 pick, and I can't be right now because he can't see what I look like. So we love that for Brittany, I guess. New connection in episode 2, Steven and Monica. Steven is white, Monica is black. They are getting to know each other. It's going great. We have one session where Steven brings up how he emotionally cheated on his girlfriend. He was chatting with someone in the DMs, got caught, learned from that, therapy, blah, blah, blah. I say blah, blah, blah because it is rare when that is actually the case with these nasty, nasty men, okay? Where they like cheat, get therapy, and never do it again, right? That's just not as common as we would want it to be. We've got political views from Steven, talking about like how he, wait, was that Steven? Maybe it was Bowden. That might have been Bowden. I don't want to. Okay. Either Steven or Bowden. Take your pick. Bowden hasn't been mentioned yet, but I'm not even going to say it because now I don't know if it's him. But I think it was him. That was like, yeah, he voted for Trump. Yeah, no, because I remember it was a bigger guy. It wasn't Bowden. We're going to say it was Steven, and if I'm wrong, my bad. I'm so sorry for the misinformation. But he voted for Trump the first time around, didn't like the way he did it, so he voted for Biden. And basically where he stands is like, he's not one political party or another. He looks at the candidates and what they have to offer and goes with the better option, which I feel like in our climate, we should all be doing. But me, I plead ignorance. I plead ignorance. Cancel me. It's fine. Life is far too short for me to be stressed out about shit like that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyways, last thing is he talks about how his dad's family was Italian, or so he thought. And then his sister did a DNA and me test or whatever. So then his dad did one. Turns out his dad is like 34% black, basically, like Nigerian and some other, was it West African? I don't know. Now I remember Nigerian, but like 34% blackness, okay? So this man is black now, apparently. Monica is loving that for her. She truly seems to be loving that for her. But yeah. So he went out, got a bunch of books, and started researching and learning about his blackness, which we love to see. I'm sorry. It's just, I gotta be real with y'all. Like, these DNA and meat test situations, like, I just don't fully believe them. And even then, it's like, if your dad, sorry. I don't know. I guess what it is there's a separation of, like, ethnicity and, like, culture. And, like, right? Like, there's, like, differences. Because I was about to say, like, then that makes you half of that black, which isn't really anything, and you weren't raised black. But that would be knocking, like, if someone's half white and half black and was raised only with their white side of the family, that doesn't make them any less black. They're still black. Their black side of the family wasn't there, right? Like, It doesn't make me any less Dominican because I grew up American Dominican. Like it. So yeah, take back that statement that I did not make yet. But I just thought it was just funny. And then he says things like her black girl headband, which, like, sir, what is that? Why would you say that? But anyways. All right, so we've got Leo and Brittany. And basically, Brittany is, like, toe up from the flow up. It's messing with her confidence with everything that Leo is into her and another girl. Leo talking about, you're both my number ones, which, like, Leo, baby, we need you to go back to math class because there can't be two number ones. It's one. It's just one. Hannah, due to finding out that he is actually talking to Brittany too, gets her some Nikki D back, okay? She goes to Nikki D. She's like, you know what? I let them get into my head. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I did. But, like, I want to keep this going. I'm a little self-conscious. And he's like, I don't care what you look like. Want to see you, love you. Do. Mind you, these two have been very, very vocal about what they physically look like to each other. It seems. That's how editing is making it seem. So they both made each other sound really hot to the other. Like I made myself sound hot to that, right? Like, you get what I'm saying. They're describing themselves as very hot looking, good looking. So they're back connected. Garrett and Taylor are still growing strong. Taylor gets him an avocado tree to represent that she wants kids in 5 to 7 years. And he's like, that's a long time. And then I was confused by her because she goes, well, you know, you don't have to necessarily think about it that way because, like, I was scared, but now meeting you, it feels less scary. And that didn't really confirm whether she was, like, willing to move up her timeline or if she was like, it's still 5 to 7, but just know that I, like, want to do that with you. I don't know what she was going for with that. But nonetheless, she has given him an avocado tree, okay? Now we are introduced to another connection, Bowden and Marissa. Bowden is a military man, so is Marissa. So they connect on that. He tells a story about how they saw some camels. He wanted to go take pictures. His compadres, whatever you call it, his compadres, were like, nah, we ain't doing that. And he was like, whatever, runs up, gets a picture of the camel. Suddenly, camel's coming after him, falls down, camel's about to stomp his face, but he doesn't, he leaves. So very, very scary sounding camel story. Then he talks about what happened in Uzbek, I believe, because I believe that's what he is. There was a war, and he had military training from here, I believe. So he decided to pack up and go help fight that war with his people. Friends of his, like, donated things, and it was this big thing. When he called his parents to tell them, they were like, we were just waiting for your call. We knew you'd do that, which is beautiful and great. Very difficult to, like, connect with that because you want to. That's such an amazing thing to do. But we also have the allegations against him. I don't think anything has been, like, proven or, like, that it's come to a, like, completion. So there are allegations against him, I believe, for SA or something along those lines. I don't want to spread misinformation. There are charges against him, though. So, yeah. Then we have a funny moment of Bowden and Ramsey talking about, oh my God, imagine if there was a love triangle. No, unbeknownst to them, they are the love triangle or a love triangle. Because Marissa is also talking to Ramses. Ramses was married for 4 years. We talked about him in my cast impressions. He seems to have done the work. Seems really cool. We get a little bit more information. He was very Christian or religious. I'm pretty sure it was Christian, but we'll go with religious. He was very religious. He started shying away from his religion, which caused the rift between him and his wife and eventually resulting in divorce. So yeah, he seems really interesting. They seem to make so much sense together. I'm hoping it stays that way. Again, one of those too good to be true moments I'm having, but we are hopeful, remaining positive. This episode ends with our first proposal, Garrett and Taylor. So we've got a proposal and a reveal incoming. Episode 3 picks up with Taylor and Garrett meeting. They seem to like each other, baby, okay? The chemistry is there, so we love that for them. They seem really happy to meet each other. And yeah, we're hoping it stays that way. They seem really connected. Sorry if this is throwing you off. I got interrupted yesterday, had to stop. Didn't get to keep filming like in the same clothes, in the same area. So here I am today. So again, sorry if it throws you off, but we're gonna keep going. We're gonna wrap this up because it's going up on Wednesday when the other episodes drop, but it just doesn't make sense to not drop this and then tomorrow drop the other episodes. So, but we're hopefully back on track. I'm gonna stop saying that because every time I do, it never goes that way. Leo keeps stringing Brittany along. Brittany continues to like be upset about it, but like she's not leaving. She's not saying he needs to choose. Like she'll like be upset about it. She'll like let him know she's upset, and then he'll be like, okay, like I'm gonna make a choice tonight. And she'll be like, you don't have to make a choice tonight, like sleep on it, you know, make it tomorrow. He goes, okay, so we're gonna go on a date tonight. I'm gonna surprise you. Like, I'm gonna surprise you. Like, just, you're not gonna, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna surprise you. It's a blanket with his cologne on it. It's a blanket with his cologne on it that he like sends to her side of the pod. Okay, whatever. Then he starts asking her what ring she wants. She's like, I don't want to answer that question until you've decided who you're picking. And he's like, oh, well, I was gonna ask both of you. She's like, that's stupid. Like, I don't want our story. Like, she essentially is like, I don't want our story to begin that way. But then he proceeds to convince her to like talk about what ring she would want anyways. And basically she's like, I like oval. I like gold jewelry. It's like, see, I knew that. I knew you like gold jewelry. He's like, and I feel like maybe you'd like a shape. I like oval. Oval as a shape. And like, basically, and he's like, yeah, see, I knew you'd like that. I knew you'd like that. So they go through a few, and then he's like, see, I know you. Like, I know you, Brittany. And it's like, you just agreed with everything she said she wanted and said, like, I already do that. Like, ew. Leo, no. Leo, no. Anyways, yeah, so he keeps bringing her along. They talk about the ring, and she's like, yeah, you do know me. Like, girl, she falling for the okie doke. I don't think she is. I think she's falling for the money, but it's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Hannah and Leo talk prenups. Then Hannah and Nick talk finances. She's like, hey, so like my other connection got money. Like, what do you got? And he's like, I mean, I'm okay. Like, I'm not doing the best. He's like, you know, when you start out in real estate, you don't start out making a bunch of money. I'm realizing I failed to mention Tyler and Ashley's proposal. I think it's because, like, okay, the quote-unquote boring couple, right? That's what we like to call the couple that has, like, no drama, no issues. They're just wonderful, beautiful, great on the show, right? Because Tyler got a lot going on right now. But yeah, they kind of tend to be labeled the boring couple, and you don't pay a ton of attention to them because you're so focused on like the drama and like what's coming next with the drama. So needless to say, I fully missed where the proposal happens. But it's cutesy, innocent, beautiful, all that stuff, you know, prayers are being said, like it's very cute. So now we have their reveal. They reveal to each other, love each other. They like what each other looks like. They're vibing, they're having fun, they're having a great time. Yeah, not much to be said. Again, it's like that boring couple label right now. I did mention the Tyler situation. I actually was watching a Jesse video where I found out even more. Like, he owes child support. The baby mama and the baby mama's mom have made it clear that like he was in these kids' lives as their father. They showed screenshots of how like his mom had posted them as like, look at my cute grandchildren type of things. That is wild. And it doesn't, because that's the thing, it doesn't matter if you were a sperm donor. It doesn't matter that you didn't have sex with this woman to make these kids. You are involved in their lives, or were involved in their lives as a father. Like, regardless of how they were made, you participated as a dad. You can't say, I was just a sperm donor and you're involved in these kids' lives. Because let's say you decided to continue that. You could not have the label of sperm donor and then your wife is having to like facilitate you having these kids over your house, or you know what I'm saying? Like that, then at that point, it's sperm donor or ex or baby daddy, like none of the labels matter. The kids are in your lives. Like that's a whole. And then Ashley, I pray, you guys, I pray that she is not finding out this information now, like with us. And that he told her like, yeah, it just went wrong with this lady, yada, yada, yada. Like, I hope that she didn't like see these pictures. And I don't know, because we don't know. Maybe he tells her in the next few episodes, like before the marriage. I pray to God that they didn't get married her thinking he was like a sperm donor, or that she knew this and married him anyways, because that, crazy. I don't care what your reasoning is to just scrub these kids from without. Like I said, hopefully, God willing. But then that's not even the only thing. Apparently he owes all these women money. He made this contract with a woman to borrow $10,000, never paid her. Like, all of this stuff is going on. So like, I just don't see how anything he could say on the show, anything he could say on the show moving forward, like vindicates him. Lord Jesus, I just pray. I pray Ashley had no idea. And I know that'll hurt her, but it would be so much better for her. I know that sounds weird to say, but like, yeah, it would just be better for her that like she didn't know than like, oh, she knew and married him anyways, or she was told a fake story and married him under false pretense. Like, golly, that's crazy. It's crazy. We end this episode with Hannah going to dump Leo, and Leo loses his marbles. He loses them. They all roll away, clinking and clacking loudly, okay? He is like, no, what do you mean? Because he said he loves you first? That's not a reason to marry someone, Hannah. I'll marry you right now. Will you marry me if I ask you right now? Hannah, no. Like, you can't, how could you can't get mad that I had 2 connections and I kept exploring those 2 connections. Hannah. Hannah's crying, just distraught, like doesn't know what to do with herself or him or the situation, and she's just like, I can't, I just want to go to bed, and this man is holding her hostage with his words, okay? This man is like, Hannah, no, like, listen, like, we have to talk about this, Hannah, you can't make these decisions. And she's like, I can't talk, I gotta go to bed. He's like, okay, all right, we'll talk tomorrow. And, like, if you were asking me, it seemed like in the pods, she was maybe second guessing. Like, wait, so he does want me? Like, wait, But then when she got back to the women's quarters, the women were like, that's psychotic, Hannah. That's not okay. And then she was like, wait, you're right. Like, that's not okay. He's crazy. You know, like, she needed a little help coming to these conclusions. Moving into episode 4. We have Tim and Alex. This one, he shares the bracelet, but I already mentioned that. Then we have Steven and Monica. Steven proposes to Monica. She says yes, of course. She says, this is what I've been waiting for 33 years of life. Ramses and Marissa are discussing Adam Sandler v. Will Ferrell. She says she doesn't like dumb humor, but like Adam Sandler has a lot of dumb humor. But maybe she more so watches his, like, you know, rom-coms and like family movies and stuff like that, like grown-ups or whatever it's called. Because I love me some Adam Sandler, honey, but he do have some dumb humor. Because I don't like dumb humor either. Like the Will Ferrell movies and stuff. Like, I don't think that they're that funny. Like, the Step Brothers is okay. I know, it's a staple. Everybody loves it. It's just okay. It's not a movie that I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny, I watch it all the time, you know? As well as Elf, but I feel like Elf is a little bit more common of a 50-50 split, where people are like, it just wasn't funny. I didn't understand the hype either. I mean, it's a fun little Christmas movie, but I'm like, the obsession part of it, no entiendo. And then she finds out he's a Cancer Leo, which apparently is an amazing thing for her. I don't know astrology, y'all. I really, truly don't. So y'all let me know in the comments what Cancer Leo means. But it's great. She goes to the women's quarters, and she's like, he's a Cancer Leo. And they're like, so happy for you. Don't know what that is, but you look happy. I guess Cancer Leo was all she needed, because she dumps Bowden. He takes it really well, which is sweet. We are back with Leo and Hannah, you guys, and how the turntables turn, okay? How the turntables table. Because this man is now, like, basically Hannah's like, yeah, no, like, I'm sticking with Nick. And he's like, yeah, he's a great man. Yeah, I know. You know, and Brittany's a great woman. And she's like, yeah, she is. She's the best. He's like, yeah, you know, so, like, she's always been number one. And Hannah's like, yeah, he's like, she's always been my number one, you know? She's the woman I love. And I, you know, I just needed a moment to see it. But, yeah, she's number one. She's the woman I love. And Hannah's like, okay, sure, whatever. And he's like, you know, like, if you could do me one favor, if you could go back there and tell her that I talked about her, tell her that. Leo, if I was Hannah, I would be like, sure, $100,000. Write up the contract, I got you, baby. I will sell you to this girl. JK, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm just kidding. But like, sir, are you okay? Are you okay? And then rewriting history as if you're not on a show. There's cameras recording everything, sir. You okay? Oh, and I forgot to mention that he tried to, like, persuade Nick into believing that she was, like, unhinged or, like, weak. Like, he was like, she couldn't even finish the conversation. Like, that just felt so weak to me. Yada, 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 right? And he's like, and that's why I'm choosing Brittany. So maybe, like, he did feel like Brittany's his number one, but not always, because she wasn't. And he tells Hannah she was his number one. So, like, what are you talking about? But Nick doesn't fall for it. Nick is like, I know what we got. Like, I'm cool. You figure out you. Tim proposes to Alex, all right? So we got therapy sessions. Oh, I already said that. Tim proposes to Alex. It's a cute little proposal from what I can remember at this point. It's been so long. But yeah, they're vibing. I don't like his, like, frat boy or, like, energy. It's too much. I don't know how she has made it this far with that, but We get a Monica and Steven reveal. Steven seems really into her. She seems into Steven. Maybe not like as into him as he is into her, but like they're good. Like it was a good reveal. It was honestly this season, most of the reveals have gone well. Like I normally by like the Mexico trip, you hear them being like, I can't match the name to the face, or like, I'm not quite there yet. Like Hannah really was the only one to be like, oh, he lied or whatever. But we'll get there. Whoops. I talk too much. But I didn't talk too much because next up we have Nick D proposing to Hannah. This is unhinged. And ultimately, I think they are the two youngest, or was Leo the youngest guy? I don't know. They're both giving young, is it Gen Z? Like energy. Are they Gen Z? I don't know. But they are like young. You can tell that it's like y'all need a little bit, like a few more relationships in your life, or just to like grow. Just like focus on yourself and grow. Homegirl, and I'm gonna need Love is Blind to stop doing this, okay? Love is Blind, I'm speaking to you. Stop putting people on this show who are not stable. Like, I get it. Finances aren't supposed to be important, but it is a big deal. Like, and it is a signal to like people's maturity levels, or like people's like unhealthiness. Like, if this woman is not working, she should not be on a show finding love. Like, that's insane to me. That is crazy talk. And she quit her job to be on the show. Like, you guys don't. Honestly, Hannah and Leo might have been a match that makes sense. Because, like, you know, he's got the money, he's chilling. He'll let her figure out, like, what she wants to do with life, and she won't have to worry about money. And I know it's not all about money, but I'm just saying, like, they kind of could have made sense. Let me know if you agree with me. Tim and Alex have their reveal. He's like, yo, she's like, oh, you have freckles. He's like, yeah, I hit that. Yeah, like, what a little surprise. Freckles. Oh, you have a nose ring. You know I have a nose ring? My sister. Like, I'm going to hell, God forgive me, but oh my God. What is with the comparisons? It's a little bit cray-cray. Episode 5. We pick up with Brittany and Leo exchanging letters. Brittany's letter, I think, says, like, how he hurt her, but she loves him. That she loves him, but he hurt her. There we go. Backwards. And then Leo's letter is this crazy, corny poem of proposal, right? Like, I'm down on one knee. Are you looking at me? Like, that type of energy, you know? Like, a little bit much. He's like, and I tell you I love you. You know you love it. And she's like, I do. I'm like, damn, Brittany, stand up. Hey, girl, what is going on? So, yeah. He proposes. She says yes. It's the Nick D and Hannah reveal. And this is what I was talking about. Hannah says he lied. She's like, he said he was a football player. Like, he said he was, like, a bigger build. And he said he's tall. He's shorter than me. Which, mind you, she's wearing, like, fucking 6-inch heels. And he's height to height with her. So he's definitely not shorter than you, babes. Like, chill out. Also, as someone mentioned, because while I do not know a lot about football, I know that the kicker isn't exactly expected to be 300 pounds. 300 pounds. And, like, you know, like, the kicker is usually a little string bean, okay? And that's just my knowledge, my little knowledge. But I'm pretty sure it's accurate. Also, you also were presenting a completely different person. I feel like they both basically presented high school versions of themselves, right? Like, because it's the whole, like, a peaking in high school thing. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. I know. I know, and you say, like, oh, I think they like, peaked in high school. It's, like, a diss. But I literally mean it's, like, that's, like, the way they were, like, describing themselves was, like, their height of life as high schoolers almost. And I think especially Hannah feels that way because obviously, like, she quit her job, so she's not fulfilled there, right? Because you wouldn't leave your job for something so uncertain like this show. So she obviously was, like, ready for something new. And so I think, and it's hard because let me tell you, I am there. I think about, like, my teenage years as, like, the best years of my life. But I am also aware that that is because my life is so unfulfilled now. And I love my kids and I have a beautiful life and I am appreciative and grateful of that. But I do acknowledge that I think a lot about high school Norma, you know, and how, like, great life was and how, like, the sea was her oyster, whatever that saying is. And so I understand. So that's not me dissing her. It's me coming from a place of understanding where I think for her, it does feel like those were her best years, right? That's when she was skinnier. She was the cheerleader. She was dating the quarterback. And again, weight doesn't matter. I'm not one to talk about weight. But what I'm saying is for her, it clearly does matter. It clearly has shifted something because if you feel the need to explain yourself as you were in the past, something's there, you know? Wow, I got a little intense. So yeah, I feel like for her being like, oh, he lied, or like he didn't exactly explain himself correctly, neither did you. Because I can almost promise you, if he was allowed to be honest, because of course also in this world, like if he was honest about that, he'd be an asshole, right? If a guy is honest about a girl, but meanwhile she could do that to him, like it's crazy. But he would say that's not what I pictured based on what she was saying. Ramsey's proposes to Marissa. It's a beautiful proposal. I'm sorry, I'm not getting very detailed because like I said, like the next episode dropped today. Everybody has moved on from this, but I felt like I did want to put my thoughts out there on things. So yeah, it's a cute proposal. They propose. Then we have the Brittany and Leo reveal. Brittany, you can tell, is basically disgusted by Leo. And not that Leo is disgusting, okay? But like, to her, she looked disgusted, okay? She was just like, oh my God, oh, he's proposing. And someone pointed out a lot of the body language. When they were hugging, Shorty was bent back at like a 45-degree angle. Like, come on, guys. And then when he's holding her, she's got her hands on his chest, almost like, you know, distance. When he's proposing, she's like holding onto his wrist. Like, are you sure you want to do this? And then she's like, oh, this is the most awkward day of my life, or this is the most awkward situation of my life. And I don't think that's what you want to say about your proposal date, right? Like your engagement. But maybe that's just me. So yeah, she's being weird about it. And then she's like, oh, if we don't go to Cabo, we can go to Miami, right? We can go to Miami. He's like, yeah, but we're going to Cabo. And she's like, but like, if we don't, we can go to Miami, right? Girl was trying to get a free trip. The girl said, ooh, this man is ugly, but maybe I can get my little Miami trip. This is unhinged. But yeah, Brittany does not want that man. Then we have the Marissa and Ramsey's reveal. It's very cute. They seem really into each other. Again, I really love that all these reveals have been really good. And they've mostly been into each other physically. Not that that's the most important thing, but that tends to be a barrier. But based on the previews, there's a lot of other barriers up in here. Anyways, their reveal went well. They really like each other. I love that for them. I feel like at this point in time and what we know about them, they do make so much sense together. And they're so cute and perfect together. And this episode ends with all the couples arriving in Mexico. We've got those little scenes of them like mingling with each other, right? Because it's their first time since the reveal being together, and that they're going to be together for a while. Episode 6. Okay, there's not a lot to get into in terms of like what's going on in Mexico, like because it's the typical like, right, they're like getting to know each other. Some of them are like at the pool by their room, or like in their room, like, oh, what do you know, like what do you do at night? What's your routine? Yada yada. What's his face? Garrett sleeps with tape on his mouth, which I feel like is probably more common than we think, but it is kind of an awkward thing to like share. Not that he could avoid it, because if he's gonna do it, like they're gonna film him talking about it. And then I will say, I don't know, and there is that dry sense of humor aspect, and if he's okay with it, nothing else matters. I would be mortified if I was like on TV being filmed. I'm telling my partner about this thing that I have to do to like sleep well, or like, right, like, or for things to be easier for me. And my partner just starts like capping on me, right? Like she's like, oh, like, let me do a big piece, and like, I would die. I'd be like, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. This is already fucking weird. I already know what people are going to think. Please stop. But he seemed very lighthearted and jokey about it, so that's wonderful for them and for him. While the couples are doing things, Nick D finds this little like duck swan thing that you ride. Like, I guess you like race on them. And Hannah doesn't want him to get on it, but he gets on it. Some older lady gets on the one next to him. She's like, let's race. And then she says like, oh, she's jealous. Don't be jealous. Like, it's fine. And then Hannah, and so we move into the pool party where everybody's getting together, right? All the couples are going to meet, all of that. And Hannah describes the girls' this incident and saying like, so he goes and he leaves me alone. And so then I'm like, hey, Nick. And then the girl's like, oh, she's so jealous. She's such a jealous bitch. And everybody's like, that's not what happened. Not those girls, but like us watching, right? So she exaggerates it a bit. She's like, yeah. And like, sure, maybe he should have said something when the lady said like, oh, she's so jealous. She's like, don't be jealous. I don't think I would have really gotten upset about that. I guess if you were jealous, you would. Or if you were insecure, right? Because it was an older woman, but Nick did say she was hot. And she looked pretty, right? She looked fit or whatever. And so if Hannah is dealing with body image issues, that would bother you more than it would bother someone else who isn't. But yeah, so that turns into a whole thing. He's describing what happened to the guys. He's basically like, it's no big deal. I don't get it. But because of that, she writes like a 10 things I hate about you list. And leaves it where he can find or something. And so he's like, what the heck is this? Steven points out, like, dude, if she made that list based on one thing, like one moment that happened, she's had that on her mind for a long time, or like she's got a lot more on her mind to say about you. All the couples, this feels unimportant, at least to me, all the couples are sharing, like, you know, who had sex is sharing they had sex. Marissa and Ramsey are like bragging on and on and on about it. Other people are mentioning they have. I think some mention they haven't. To me, who cares? It don't matter. It don't matter unless it's like super important to them or something. I don't know. The episode ends with an Alex and Tim fight. We do not see it, but we see Alex going to open the door and it's Tim, and they hug, making it clear that they did not spend the night together. They're talking about this argument they had the night before. I guess she's saying how she left the party feeling like there was weird energy, and it sounds like she left before him and he came after, and then they were arguing in their room. At some point she put her hand over his mouth to make me quiet, and that is a huge no. So I think it's clear in this fight that she was the problem, but Tim, I think, is also the problem with his woof woofing and all of that, and the like spitefulness of like, oh, you said you don't like it, okay, well I'm gonna buy it, right? Like he talked about the girl saying like, oh, I hate that yellow shirt, so he bought the yellow shirt. We see him trying on hats, and he's telling Alex like, I'm gonna buy it, and she's like, oh, don't, and he's like, yeah, I am, like I don't care. Like, I just think that that type of humor is gonna get old after a while, even if it's clear that Alex isn't even cool with that humor, and he don't give a fuck, clearly, by the t-shirt comment. But that gets old fast. So, like, even if you're trying to put up with it, or even if Alex was a girl that was like, ha ha ha, yeah, laughing with you, that gets old. I don't feel like I know many people who, like, that humor can continue, is, like, sustainable. Last thoughts with the upcoming. It obviously was a lot of editing of, like, all these moments. But there were a few things I did notice, which was the convo between Bowden and Marissa when he says, she's like, okay, I guess you can say I'm pretty. She's like, so would you have proposed? And he's like, yeah. Of course, it's the typical, like, producer-planted talk, I'm realizing, where they, like, push people to talk and then it's awkward, right? We had Jarrett doing that with Mallory, whatever her name was, her and Ayana being his two, whatever. Like, it's just like clearly producers forced this conversation and they like are somehow able to get it to be flirty. I don't know, but it was just annoying. I was like, Marissa, why did you have to fall for that? We have Monica and Steven. Steven's like, oh, I royally messed up. Monica's like crying. It seems like maybe there was cheating again, but I don't know. I hope not. But my goodness, Steven. We get Hannah being like, I turned you from a boy to a man. So what do you do? And you're like, ugh. Ew. I literally just wrote in my notes, ew, Hannah. Because girl, what? And then lastly, Garrett and Taylor. Something about Garrett talking to an ex. And Taylor's like crying about it and stuff. There's like 2 scenes of her crying, which is 2 scenes too many, guys. They are together for too short a time span for people to be crying or like arguing to like the Alex and Tim level type of stuff, you know? Anyways, those are our final thoughts. Can't wait to watch tonight. I will be back tomorrow with that recap. That's all I'm gonna say about it, because I know every time I go on and on, it never works out that way. But that is the plan. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below. What are your thoughts about what's to come? What are your thoughts about Tyler and this whole situation? Y'all gotta let a girl know, because that is wild. It's insane. And I think they said Chelsea was casting for this season, which is so embarrassing for her. I hope she had nothing to do with Tyler, but who the heck knows? All these people are a mess. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.